Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to another trade recap. In this one, we're talking about my Euro Australian dollar trade from this week. It's currently Saturday. I believe I entered the trade Monday or Tuesday, and finally got out of the trade on Friday. So the trade lasted the whole week, and as you can see, it turned out quite nicely with a 4-to-1 risk-reward ratio. Now, before we talk about the technicals and the trade management, let's talk about why I took the trade. Because it's not usually solely technicals. In fact, it almost never is, because I don't just trade with technical analysis. I like to have a fundamental driver for a currency, or usually multiple currencies in the pair, before I want to take a trade. So let's go over all the stuff and talk about it real quick. Let's go on the 4-hour chart. We can see this pair has been trending up for a few months now, or at least a month and a half. We've seen a stronger trend. Now, why is this? Right? Because it's not just random. The reasoning for this is that the euro has been somewhat strong. Reason for that is partially their central bank shifted a bit more hawkish lately. But my main reasoning for entering the trade was not on the euro side, because the euro strong but not super strong. It was mainly because of how weak the Australian dollar was, right? I was also looking at the pound Australian dollar, because the pound is a bit stronger than the euro. However, it did not pull back enough. The technicals weren't there, and I like to see the technicals there as well. Otherwise, I would have hopped in the pound Aussie instead of euro Aussie. But anyways, the technicals matched up here, and that is why I entered on EA instead. So, what is so bad right now with Australia? Why is the Australian dollar weak? Well, really, it mainly all comes down to COVID. All comes down to the Delta variant. It's spreading in lots of places around the world, but really, it's hitting Australia very hard, and that's because they were slow getting their vaccinations out. They were pretty slow, and so they're getting hit pretty hard, right? Because they have less population that is vaccinated. That means they are going into lockdown. Cases are spreading. They, essentially cut off travel with New Zealand. So, travel is not there. So that's money out. Lockdowns, that's money out. So overall, the economy is not doing well because of this spread. That also has implications for their central bank. They were shifting a bit hawkish, right? Tightening because things were going well. Boom. All of a sudden, this variant comes, spreads. So that puts the brakes there, right? Whereas other central banks are still moving ahead with their tightening, right? Still trying to push back against inflation. Australia can't do that because their economic recovery is slowing down, right? There's still parts are in lockdown. They're going into lockdown. So their central bank is now taking a step back from that, right? Because they're a little bit unsure now of how this recovery is going, and they're not going to push back against inflation as they're going back into lockdown, right? That's putting brakes on the economy on top of putting brakes on the economy, right? That's not really good. So for this reason, right, things are not looking good for Australia. That is why the Australian dollar has been weak, right? I took the long trade here. That worked out. Pulled back. And so I was looking to get in around here. Right? I was just too slow, whatever. Wasn't really paying attention. So as I moved up, I was then looking to get in on a pullback. Now that we covered the fundamentals, why I was bullish, price action was bullish, right? We broke out of this downtrend here, right? So I was looking for a pullback. Let me, whatever, we'll keep that there. Actually, we'll just delete it. So I was looking for a pullback. This was the obvious place that I was looking for, right? Pullback to this resistance. Now it would be possibly support. On top of that, let me get rid of this. We had some 1-hour moving averages there, right? The 200 MAs and the 50 MA. So overall, we had some moving averages there, right? On the 4-hour, we had the 50 MAs. So nice confluence of this area. And then we had the 50 Fibonacci, which I use Fibonacci more as an area, not an exact. I don't look at just one level, but I look general area. I like it to be between the 61 and the 38 is the general area I like, to hop in. And so that lined up as well. Overall, solid entry. So as it came in here, started pulling back. I hopped in, and my stop was right here. So as you can see, right below this little wick here, and below this 38, I figured that gives it enough space. If it can come lower than that, break this area, that would shift my bias a little bit less bullish. And then as for my targets, right up in this resistance area, right where prices stalled before, and actually probably a little lower, this was going to be my first target, right? If it can get up to here, I would take some profits. And then, of course, a break of that high is what I was eventually looking for as a final target, right at this fib level, roughly. So I hopped in here. As it pushed up and we got this move, I took a bit of profits, right? So a little bit before my first target, but I only took off like 10-20% just to lock in a bit of profits. And at that point, moved my stop to break even, right? Because if it comes back, if it came all the way up here and it can come all the way back down, again, always looking at price action, that does not indicate too much bullish pressure. So I would want to then just scratch the trade at break even there. But obviously that wasn't a concern. It never ended up hitting it. I was considering hopping in on a retracement, adding to my position, but I decided against it just because this was chopping around a little bit. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to hold on the piece I have and let it play out. As it started pushing up a little higher, I took a little bit more off. And then as it came up to here, I closed out fully of the position. So pretty basic trade management, nothing too crazy. Just taking profits as it goes higher. And of course, managing risk by moving the stop to break even. So overall textbook trade, right? Making sure we were in the, direction of the trend, fundamentals lined up. We had a fundamental reason for the Australian dollar getting weaker. So overall, just an A+ trade, right? Trade management was on point. The only thing I could say is I possibly could have held off. I didn't need to take some off here. I could have waited, for that first target to be hit, and got a little bit more profit out of it, but can't complain. Overall, pretty great trade. So if you have any questions, guys, please let me know in the comments section down below. If you gained value, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.